Hey, welcome back to the Fantasy 15. This is round 3. This is the championship edition of the Fantasy 15, also the Christmas edition of the Fantasy 15. So, welcome to the playoffs. If you made it this far, you're either in or you're round 3 fighting for third place and trying to maybe get your money back or win a little bit of money in your league, or maybe you're going for the big bucks and you're in the championship. So, congratulations to those of you that are probably either just tuning in because you like the show or tuning in because you're in round 3. But welcome, Ryan. Ryan's looking like he's ready for Jake Paul in his next debut. He's got his robe on, and you're not feeling very good tonight.
No, I'm very much under the weather, but I'm here for you all, and I'm weathering the storm, and I could kick Jake Paul's ass even sick.
So it is the flu game for Ryan tonight. He's not quite MJ, being that he may not got it all out tonight, but he's at least going to get through the ultimate lineup. So Ryan, thanks for this is your flu game, at
Mhm.
least trying to make it through the championship edition of the Fantasy
Do
15.
this.
So I do have some bad news for you. We did have the ultimate lineup again, and the results when I started tabulating them, they were not favorable for you this week.
No,
Unfortunately, I get another win, and I move to 9-3. And Puka Nakua just
yeah,
absolutely went off for 12 receptions, 225 yards, and 2 TDs. He was my ultimate player really this week. So he really went off for me. Christian McCaffrey had a really good game as well. Those really were my two studs that carried me throughout the week. And I forgot to mention, if you're out there and you're watching, make sure if you got questions for Ryan or I, make sure that you put the comments in YouTube or X or Facebook and let us know if you have any questions. Now, if you're watching on Facebook right now, because it's not quite streaming to our page yet, so it's my personal one. If you want to add questions, because I may not see them in the comments from my personal Facebook, but if you go out to YouTube and follow us at Fantasy 15 FB and you want to send comments, we'll be able to answer those questions live, and we can see them in our studio comments section. Ryan, for you, I mean, you had a solid day from a couple players,
gosh,
being
Josh Allen had such a bad game,
he
and then
did.
yeah, but I mean, Josh Allen, Nico Collins didn't give me much either, so those two kind of killed me. Other than that, everyone else, Trey McBride, terrible week. Yeah.
Yeah. And, as far as
Other than that,
defenses go, I mean, neither of our defenses really, performed like we maybe thought that they would. But, you know, Trey McBride was a surprise for me, though, too. Both Josh Allen and Trey McBride really underperformed for you. And there's a
mhm.
lot of memes out there, too. When, Trey McBride was performing, showing out every week. And now it's semifinals trying to make it a championship game. And Trey McBride has a stinker. So that was
Crazy.
unfortunate for a lot of people out there that had Trey in their lineups. Um, yeah. So with the ultimate lineup this week, week 17, you get the first pick this week.
Yeah, and you know, maybe the fact that I'm a little, not 100% and didn't have a chance to overthink this will help me. Um, so, oh man, I don't know. I guess I probably want to stick with a team that really has still a lot to fight for, and it just feels like a game without. I hate to do it, but without Josh Metellus, with no Grenard, no anyone else. Jameer Gibbs is probably poised for a really big game against Minnesota. So unfortunately, I'm going to take Jameer Gibbs, especially with no no JJ McCarthy this week. They're
What
probably
kind of Vikings?
hold on to the ball a whole lot. I told you, man.
You got to do it.
Blame it on being sick.
That's a really solid pick. But yeah, so that's a good pick. And being that you went that way, I mean, I'm just going to come back and go Puka Nakua.
Yeah. I mean, he's been absolutely on fire the last 2 weeks, so why not stick with him? Oh God. Give me give me oh, it's a tough defense, but both teams have so much to fight for. Give me James Cook.
Goes to the well again.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Well, I mean, I think I might do it to you. And why not?
Go for it.
I'm gonna go Jackson Smith and Jigba, and I'm gonna take
Cool.
JSN.
Yeah, makes sense. I rapid fire on you. Give me Trey McBride.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Ouchies. You went that early on tight end, huh?
Bengals, man. Bengals suck.
Man, I'm gonna put you in a pickle, and I'm gonna go with Jamar Chase.
Yeah, that's fine.
So that's my flex.
Yeah, you're out of receivers. Pretty much made it easy for me to take the next best running back, which in my opinion is probably going to be I'm filibustering if you haven't noticed. Is probably going to let's go to the great state of Florida and take A-Chain.
Okay, that's solid. He's going against Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
That's a solid pick. So you are out of running backs. I'm out of wide receivers. So that kind of makes some stuff interesting and easy, I guess. This is quite the pickle. Man, I kind of want to. I have my pick of who I want, and I thought you were just gonna make it easy for me, but you didn't. So I feel like this is a stretch if I go that way. Screw it. You did it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Lions defense.
Oh, wow. All right. I mean, it's a good pick. I'm just shocked you went defense over quarterback.
I feel like there's a lot of quarterbacks.
I do too. That's what I was kind of hoping. I know who I was hoping you'd take.
I kind of want you to make my pick for me.
Yeah, I was hoping the same. I was hoping the same. So there.
I don't think we're on the same wavelengths this week.
Maybe not. Well, I don't know. You took Detroit's defense, huh?
I did. Yep.
What do I need? 2 running backs, a quarterback, and a kicker?
This should make it easy because we're on opposite ends.
I mean, there's no reason. I mean, I don't give a dang about kickers, so I guess I'll just take a quarterback. That I was really, really, really hoping that you would just take Josh Allen.
So we're almost done with our ultimate lineup. Ryan's debating right now. And after we get done with this, make sure that you have your questions, start getting them ready of who you need to sit and start this week in fantasy football for your championship or your third place game. So go ahead and throw those in the comments. If you're watching on Facebook, please switch over to YouTube if you can. Fantasy 15 FB, you can search, or go ahead and check us out on X, also Fantasy 15 FB. That way we can see your comments in studio and answer them and bring them up on the screen live. Go ahead, Ryan.
All right. Yeah, so I was hoping you'd take Josh Allen, but because I wasn't going to take Josh Allen this week, the guy who's been on an absolute tear and is putting up insane numbers the last few weeks, and they have a chance at the number 1 seed in the AFC, is Trevor Lawrence. And I'm rolling with him against Indy.
You're going to go with Trevor Lawrence, huh?
Just dude's on absolute fire. How many touchdowns does he have in the last 2 weeks?
I am not even going to lie to you.
10.
I'm not even going to lie to you because you're going to see it on my charts. You just sniped me.
I believe it.
You just sniped me. Trevor Lawrence, we're going to get there, but Trevor Lawrence is my number 1 quarterback this week.
Well, Trevor Lawrence has been absolutely killing it.
Just sniped me. I can't believe you did that.
I told you should have went quarterback.
That blows my mind that you were on top of that, just like I was. I mean,
he's been killing it.
He has, but I still just can't believe that that's the route that you went. That's wow. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to go Joe Burrow.
Yeah. Hey, Joe had a great week last week, so let's hope he can keep the momentum going. I kind of hope he finishes the season really poorly so that we don't have to give up as much when we trade for him as Vikings fans.
It's not happening, but yes.
It's a pipe dream.
All right, you need a kicker yet, and you need receivers.
Oh yeah, receivers. Sorry.
Yeah. And a defense.
Yeah, I need a defense too. Defense. Usually you can just pick whoever plays the Raiders, but they're playing the Giants this week, so that's kind of out the window. I kind of want to make it fun and just pick the Rams against the Falcons because it's the last game of the slate. Yeah, why not? I'll just do that. Give me the Rams defense.
Rams defense. All right.
Against the Falcons.
All right. Well, you went with the Rams. I still need to get it. I need a kicker yet. So let's go ahead and grab my number 1 kicker while we're at it. And I'm going to go ahead and take Borregales from New England facing the New York Jets this week. Cool. I like Borregales.
Yeah. Yeah, great. Give me. It's just I don't even know who's like they're gonna own time of possession. They should score a ton of points against the worst defense in the NFL. Give me CeeDee Lamb.
That's a solid pick at that spot.
CeeDee Lamb.
Okay. You got CeeDee Lamb.
I like CeeDee Lamb this week.
All right. I need to get some running backs now.
That'd be good.
So I'm gonna go Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Gotta lock him in.
Let him fall to you, huh?
You kind of did.
It's all right. Bears.
And you need another wide receiver and a defense, and a kicker.
No, I don't need defense. I picked Rams.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. You did do that.
No, you're good. You're good. You know who's been balling is Tyler Shug. So give me Olave.
That is a really good pick, and he's high on my 15. You and I mean, This is we talked about it. This is your flu game. But
Yeah, let's hope so.
even in your flu game, you're on the same wavelengths I am, and wow, he takes Chris Olave, and that's just a really good pick.
I hope so.
All right, Olave. So you put me in a really tough spot with this next pick. I think I know what I got to do. Hmm. Man, I know what the right answer is.
You have to take Tyler Warren after the game he had.
Yeah. The problem is I can't go with George Kittle just because I don't know what's going on with that whole ankle issue. So I'm going to go with Harold Fannin Jr. and I'm going to go back to that well.
I'm kind of surprised you didn't go with Bowers this week against the Giants.
I like Harold Fannin.
Yeah,
He's getting a massive amount of targets.
he is. Yeah. All right. What do I need? A kicker?
Yep.
I don't care. Just draw a name. I'll take Brandon Aubrey against the Commanders because he won Pro Bowl over Reichert, which is BS.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy. That was a pretty big snub, I thought, as well.
Reichert missed 2 field goals the whole year,
and one hit
one
a cable.
of them hit the freaking cable.
9 of 11 from 50
cable,
plus.
whatever.
Perfect from extra points.
Mm-hmm. Vikings finally get a kicker, and they just have one of the most letdown seasons of all time.
All right, so I went Harold Fannin Jr., and this is the tough part where I need another running back yet, and for me, it's either Chase Brown for me or Bijan again. The only thing I really kind of hate, I really hate that he's going against the Rams. That's just a tough one for me. And Brown had a monster week here this last one. Man, I just don't like him going against that Rams defense. So I'm going to go Chase Brown instead of Bijan. And that's probably surprising, but that's the way I'm going to go. That's how my rankings sit.
I have like the dark horse running back of the week who I even thought about taking. And I think he probably scores twice this week. Tyrone Tracy.
Okay. Yeah. Playing the Raiders.
Yup.
All right. So that is our ultimate lineup this week. I believe you have all your picks as well. Joe Burrow, McCaffrey, Brown, Nakua, JSN, Harold Fannin Jr., and then I also got Jamar Chase, Borregales in the Lions defense. For Ryan's picks, he got Trevor Lawrence, which is my number one quarterback. He got my number one running back, Jahmyr Gibbs. He also got Cook. He got Lamb, Olave, sneaky pick with Olave. Trey McBride, obviously the number one tight end as well. Devon A-Chain, Brandon Aubrey in the Rams defense. So,
I like it.
like I said, it was a really tough week for Ryan in the fantasy playoffs. Ryan's fantasy picks. I mean, his ultimate lineup has not been stellar. It's not been good.
You nined me.
Good. I did 9 you. So there was a chance that Ryan wasn't going to show up, but he did. His flu game again. Props for showing up. But Ryan, are you gonna try to stick it out, or are you gonna sign off here? You got the flu. You need to rest.
The only reason you're giving me such a hard time about fantasy, and the only reason I want to stick around is you got to throw up best bets at some point. And I know I went 3-1-1, no spoilers, but I just spoiled it. 3-1-1, and I don't know what you did.
Well, real quick, let's go ahead and answer this question before we get into the charts. And again, if you guys have any questions, make sure that you send them through either YouTube or X so we can see them. So if you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and find us on YouTube or X. That's Fantasy 15 FB, and go ahead and send your messages. So the first one comes from Fat Killa on X. Good evening, gentlemen. Trevor Lawrence or Jared Goff? Now, I kind of already said it where it is for me. Obviously, you selected Trevor Lawrence. I have him at the top of my chart, so I think this is just a slam dunk.
Can I tell you what this week feels like as a Vikings fan? Remember, oh, I can't remember what year it was, but I'm pretty sure it was the second to last week of the season. Everyone was in their fantasy football championship game, and if you had Alvin Kamara against the Vikings, and he scored like 85 rushing touchdowns in that one game. You remember what I'm talking about?
Um,
It was like he literally had like 5 touchdowns against the
oh
Vikings.
yes, it was a lot. Actually, I
Yeah,
think he had 6 touchdowns
Saints.
that game.
Okay.
It was a
That
lot.
feels like it's going to be the same, but for Jahmyr Gibbs this week. So I would definitely take Trevor Lawrence because Jahmyr Gibbs is going to rush in like so many touchdowns that Jared Goff's not going to be worth it. Plus, Trevor Lawrence is on an all-time tear right now, and you just ride the hot hand. It's like being at the blackjack table and you're on a run. Like you don't leave the table when you're on a heater.
Well, I mean, I think it's a pretty much a slam dunk, a unanimous from us. So, Fat Killa, go ahead, make sure that you're starting the right guy. And for us, that guy is Trevor Lawrence. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just take a look at our schedule that we have coming up. Let me just hide that real quick.
I'm gonna fall off, man. But
yep. It's all good. It's all good. Get better.
I'll put it on just so I can watch you reel in your own sorrow when you go over best bets.
It wasn't good for me this week. So thanks again, Ryan. Get better. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Merry Christmas. Bye, guys.
All right. So week 17, we got the Dallas Cowboys versus the Washington Commanders. Love this matchup for anybody that you have going in fantasy for the Dallas Cowboys versus the Commanders. If you're the Commanders, you're also going against a gettable defense. So I do like Terry McLaurin this week. I've always said that, hey, he's a boomer bust type of guy. This is a boom kind of game for Terry McLaurin. I like Deebo Samuel in this one as well. Detroit Lions versus the Minnesota Vikings. I like the defense for the Lions going against the Vikings. It feels like they're going to try to force feed Jefferson in this game. So I kind of like him, not love it, but I do like Jefferson just for the fact that the Vikings are, hey, that's what they got to play for right now. So Detroit Lions, Jahmyr Gibbs, love it. St. Brown, you got to take them. Those are the two things that run that offense for the Lions. And then Jared Goff is a safe play as well. But now, one thing I will say, the Vikings have not allowed a passing touchdown in 6 games. This would be the 7th game going to tie a record. And I just don't think with all the injuries that they have on the team in playing a rookie in his second start at quarterback, there's going to be a lot of opportunities, I think, for the Lions. I am not thinking that they will keep Jared Goff or at least probably Williams or St. Brown out of the end zone. All right. Denver Broncos versus Kansas City Chiefs. You got Gardner Minshew going for the Chiefs. I like the Broncos in this one, heavily favored. Texans versus the Chargers. This is a messy one for me. Both have decent defenses going into this one, and CJ Stroud has really been struggling against defenses this year. I like the Chargers if I'm choosing somebody in this, but neither team has safe plays fantasy wise. Okay, so this is a trouble game. If you can, try to stay away from this one best you can. Ravens versus the Packers. Is Josh Jacobs a go? We don't know. The Ravens in this one, it feels like there's at least a chink in the armor without Micah Parsons for the Green Bay Packers. So Derrick Henry, as of late, has looked good. And, let's see if Lamar Jackson can kind of get it going. So there's some safe plays in there. I don't like much of the Green Bay Packer receivers, and that's just because it's a roulette table with them. You don't know what you're going to get, but if Josh Jacobs is fully healthy, obviously you got to play him. That hurt people in the semifinals last week, so it's one to watch. Cardinals, love everybody for the Cardinals and the Bengals in this matchup. Play them all. I feel like this is definitely probably going to hit that over of 53.5 points this week. Love it. Trey McBride, play him. Brissett, play him. Brown, play him. Higgins, Chase, love it. Burrow. All right. Steelers, Browns. No DK Metcalf for the next two games. Ouch. That really hurts somebody that has DK going in the championship round this week. But what that means is Jalen Warren and probably a lot more Fryermuth and Jonnu Smith for the Steelers. Now, that does hurt the Steelers as far as can they win this game in that betting line of Pittsburgh 3.5. Uh, Shadur Sanders has, looked boom or bust, but he's had better games and he's had worse games. I really like Harold Fannin Jr. as well in this one. Something to watch out for is there is, and I just should look it up. So with Quinshon Junkins going down, you don't quite have Dylan Sampson back in the lineup yet. So if you're looking for a waiver player that you want to pick up this week at running back, Raheem Sanders is going to be your running back for the Cleveland Browns. All right, New Orleans Saints versus the Titans. The Saints have a similar issue, so they're going to have an issue at running back as well too. And because of that, Taysom Hill becomes an option where he got to run the ball a little bit last week. So make sure that you're looking out for him. Tyler Shugg looks good. Olave looks good in this matchup as well. Could be a Juwan Johnson game for the Titans. Um, I don't really like any of the Titans this week. I'll be honest with you. Jaguars versus the Colts. You gotta take Trevor Lawrence and ETN. Those are really your two main plays that I like. For the Colts, I mean, other than Jonathan Taylor, I don't think that there's much. I just don't like Phillip Rivers throwing the ball. It doesn't look pretty. So, yes, I know Tyler Warren's there, but I just don't trust him throwing the ball. I just don't. Tampa Bay, Mike Evans, Baker Mayfield, and Bucky Irving are probably the three I like. I know Ibuka's there, but since Mike Evans has came back, he's been the main target. Dolphins, A-Chain's your guy. Other than that, Darren Waller is maybe your go-to. Other than that, Patriots at New York. Love this matchup for the Patriots. Ramondre Stevenson should be a start in this one, and Drake May. Jets. Brees Hall is probably the only startable player for the Jets, and even that one is a rough matchup versus the Patriots run D. Seahawks versus the Panthers. Seahawks got to have this one. They're trying to duke it out, so they're jockeying for that number one spot. So I like the Seahawks to win in this one, and I've had bad luck against the Panthers, but I'm going to go ahead and take them. JSN going to have a good game, and Sam Darnold, and I think Walker actually goes off in this game a little bit again. He had a good week last week. I know Charbonnet likes to vulture touchdowns, but I like Walker as well in this one. And for the Panthers, they're going to need to try to keep up. They're going to have to try to force feed Ted McMillan as much as they possibly can. So that's probably the only Panther I really like. Maybe Rico Dowdle. Giants, Tyrone Tracy. I think I like him as a startable player. Other than that, the only other player I like in this one is for the Raiders, and that's Brock Bowers. Eagles versus the Bills. Obviously, you got Drake May, you got Cook, Dalton Kincaid is a startable player, but that's a tough Philadelphia Eagles defense. So, I mean, the matchup isn't great for the Buffalo Bills. And on the flip side, I do like Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, and even Devontae Smith in this one, and Saquon Barkley. So, it's favorable as far fantasy for Eagles players. The Bears, I like DJ Moore and Caleb Williams and Swift. You could play Monangai as well versus the 49ers team. And then with no George Kittle, Tongas becomes an option at tight end, as well as Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy and Juwan Johnson being the playable fantasy players on that team. And then for the Rams, maybe no Devontae Adams again. So big game maybe coming for Puka again. does Colby Parkinson. He's on a milk carton somewhere, and maybe he shows up this time. But the Rams versus the Falcons, we'll see what happens. Bijan Robinson, he seems to get his. It's a tough Rams defense, but I like him. Um, you know, it's hard not to play Kyle Pitts after the last 2 weeks, and then Drake London. And if you had to go with a quarterback, I would try to stay away from Kirk Cousins this week. I just don't like the Rams going against the Rams defense in that pass rush. All right. So that's what I got for the game slates that are coming up. Let's go ahead and just take a dive into the charts. And like I said, my number one quarterback I have this week is Trevor Lawrence going against the Indianapolis Colts. Love that matchup. Joe Burrow versus Arizona, 4 touchdowns last week. That's amazing. So going against Arizona, I think that's going to be a high scoring matchup, like Prescott versus Washington and bad defense there. Stafford versus Atlanta. Drake May versus the Jets, I think, is even sneakier than, Drake May is pretty high, but I think that should maybe even be higher than what I placed him. I just really like that matchup for Drake May. Brock Purdy versus a porous Chicago back end secondary, and then Brissett versus Cincinnati. That's a really good matchup. Harrison's back, plus he's had a lot of success. He's had a lot of success um, between McBride, Harrison, and I'm blanking here just for a second. And with his other wide receiver, where is he? Wilson. Sorry, Michael Wilson. Blanking for a second. But definitely, I like that matchup. I do like Jalen Hurts versus Buffalo, Mayfield, Miami. Those are all safe plays. Jared Goff versus Minnesota. I kind of agree with Ryan talking about Jameer Gibbs running a lot. I do think that this is the type of game that they're going to end up running the ball more than passing it all over the place. And I just don't think they're going to have to be as aggressive as you would typically see that. I do like Tyler Shugg versus Tennessee. That's another sneaky matchup. All right, so rounding this out, you got Nix, you got Jackson, you got Darnold. Like them, don't love them. All right. That's kind of just where I am at with those players. All right. Going on to our running backs, Jameer Gibbs versus Minnesota. Hard not to like him. I know. Josh Allen. I didn't forget he existed. Close goal. He's like, bruh, Josh Allen. Forgot he existed. It's a terrible matchup for him this week. I just don't like how he played. Going against the Eagles defense is just a tough matchup for me. I just like those other players better. And I know that Josh Allen has been capable of some really big games, but that's a tough defense. That's just where I'm at, Ryan. So Flow School is Ryan. So he's jumping on, even though the flu's got him, he's still checking in. So that's why you don't see Josh Allen on my list. I hate that matchup. Josh Allen trying to go against the Eagles. They run the ball, time of possession, they kill the clock. That's the Eagles game. So not as many opportunities for Josh Allen in that one. Kyron Williams versus Atlanta is a good pick. I like Barkley versus Buffalo. Um, I know I have Cook at 7. I like it, don't love it. Just Philly's got a really good interior defensive line. They're really stingy. Jonathan Taylor, it's been rough since Philip Rivers came in, and he hasn't had those huge games that he had earlier in the season. He was looking like an MVP candidate. This towards this second half, or this last third of the season, maybe is better way of putting it. Jonathan Taylor has looked definitely human. Genty had a big game last week, but the Giants secondary, or the Giants interior defensive line, is stingy and tough against the run. So we'll see if he ends up with the same kind of production that he did last week. I think it was like 200 total yards that he had last week, not rushing. But Walker with a huge game last week. We'll see if he follows up against Carolina. I like Bucky Irving going against Miami. Miami does not have a good run defense. Bucky Irving, this could be your, hey, welcome back breakout game. Josh Jacobs, could he be farther up on my list? Yeah, he absolutely could. I just don't know how healthy he is. Is Emmanuel Wilson going to get more carries than he does? I don't know. He was on crutches last week before the other game that he played last week. I don't know if he's any healthier going in this week. We'll have to take a look at the injury reports to see if we got a better version of him. I have him on number 15, Ramondre Stevenson. I feel like it's a crime, even though I'm looking at it. Um, we'll see if I'm wrong, but I feel like that is a sneaky pick this week. So Ramondre Stevenson, probably not seeing Travion this week. So Ramondre probably should be a lot higher than what he is. So this could be a flashback Ramondre Stevenson type game, and expect a big one out of him. So if you have him, or if he's available in any leagues, or sitting on your bench, most likely, go ahead and give him a start this week. All right, moving on to our wide receivers. Puka Nakua, 12 receptions, 225, and two touchdowns last week. Hello, going against Atlanta. Like that matchup again with no Devontae Adams. They're going to force feed Puka. Jamar Chase versus Arizona, and then JSN versus Carolina. And, the usual suspects, right? CD Lamb versus Washington. Olave. Olave. Ryan, good call on Olave. He's high on my board as well. Olave versus Tennessee. Love it. Two touchdowns. He's got that special connection with Tyler Shug. And Pickens versus Washington. Yeah, Lamb and Pickens going against bad defense. One or both of them are going to break out and have good games. I like Mike Evans versus Miami. Williams versus Minnesota. And I get this. I just feel like the Vikings are going to try to hone in on St. Brown, and we'll see if they end up passing as much as you know, uh, they could. I just don't think that. I think this is more of a running type game. I think they're able to get a couple shots to Williams, and yes, I have Williams higher than St. Brown this week, just because I think they're going to take advantage of the secondary that's missing Josh Metellus. You got Jay Ward starting in for Theo Jackson, so he replaced Theo Jackson. So maybe a little bit of a weaker secondary than they have had. Michael Wilson at Cincinnati, that's a good matchup. Plus, you got um, Harrison Jr. back. T. Higgins versus Arizona. Juwan Jennings. If there's no George Kittle, you saw as soon as George Kittle went out, which hurt me in my fantasy playoffs for one of my leagues. I'm now playing in one of my leagues. I'm in the championship. The other, because of George Kittle going out, I lost by 1.5 because of Juwan Jennings, then scoring 15.9 points in that second half of that game once Kittle went out after he had 0 in the first half. Yeah, they like, with no Kittle, Juwan Jennings is definitely a target. Drake London, Nico Collins, and then DJ Moore could be that sneaky pick that's sitting at 15. If Odunze is not going to suit him up, and both Odunze and Burden have been hurting, so DJ Moore could really see a lot of targets, and we'll kind of see how that works out against San Francisco this week, and in another game that I think could be a high scoring game. All right, moving on to our tight ends. You got Trey McBride. Love him. I know he had a bad week last week, but I'm back on the train, especially against Cincinnati. And if Cincinnati's gonna run up the score like they did last week with Joe Burrow coming up with 4 touchdowns, Chase Brown had 3 touchdowns himself. Um, yeah, I mean Trey's gonna have to get a touchdown or two just to even try to keep up. So Jacoby Brissett and McBride are gonna be busy trying to keep up. Kittle, if he plays, if he plays against Chicago. If not, he's not on here, but I like Tongas maybe getting into these rankings too if Kittle can't go. Fannin versus Pittsburgh. I just love how many targets Shadur has been giving him. Goddard versus Buffalo. Pitts versus the Rams. And then Bowers versus New York. I mean, you brought it up, Ryan. Yes, this could be a sneaky good game for Bowers where he just kind of goes off. So look for that one. I know I got him at 6, but he's got some really good tight ends in front of him that have really been getting targeted a lot. Hunter Henry, we've seen him blow up a little bit last week. I like that matchup as well. And I know that says New York Giants. New York Jets is who Hunter Henry's going against this week. Darren Waller versus Tampa Bay. Um, Again, another one that could be a high scoring game where you're going to have to throw it a little bit. So Waller could see some extra targets in that one. I know I have Juwan Johnson on here, or sorry, for New Orleans, but that's really that should maybe be Taysom Hill versus Tennessee. He's getting running, and he's going to be getting some passing plays. So, um, he's kind of a dual threat, but Taysom Hill, maybe he's your sneaky tight end that you probably have to have at 10 because he's going to be running the ball as well. So he's a multi-tool type weapon. He can throw the ball, you can hand it off to him, and then all of a sudden he throws the ball and get you points that way too. So Taysom Hill, even though he's not on here, something to think about. Ferguson versus Washington, I think he shows up again in that game where I think they're going to get everything that they want offensively. I don't like Kelsey versus Denver all that much with Gardner Minshew. And then Gadsden versus Houston, maybe because they need outlet passes because that Houston defense is getting after them. So Herbert gets, panicked, that outlet could be Gadsden, so he could see a few more targets, but it's just a tough defense. It's not one that I really enjoy or like matchup wise. All right, going into our kickers, I like Borregales. He's my number one this week. You picked him, Ryan. Aubrey's my number two, going against Washington. Pinheiro has been great all year. He's missed one kick all season. McPherson versus Arizona. Yeah, Cam Little going against Indianapolis. I think he's going to get a lot of opportunities. Fairborn versus the Chargers. Bates versus Minnesota. He's up there just because I think they're going to score a lot of points, not necessarily kicking a lot of field goals, but Minnesota does have the capability to make teams do that. But the Lions just like going for it on fourth out. So we'll see how many opportunities he actually has. Myers at Carolina. Mavis had a pretty good week last week going against Atlanta this week. Smythe could be a sneaky one going against Tennessee. I just think this is a game where New Orleans kind of goes off a little bit. And then, some other sneaky ones. McLaughlin at 15. That could be a lot better than what I have him on for a 15 ranking. Might be low for that type of game. You know, one week Tampa Bay is scoring, you know, 30, 40 points. The next week, they're in the single digits. So they're a weird team to figure out like that. But if they get it going, you definitely got to look for them and you definitely got to play them. All right. Defenses. My number one this week is the Broncos. They're going against Kansas City. And yes, I know I picked the Lions, and I had the opportunity to go get the Broncos. Instead, I went with the Lions. Um, you're missing 3 out of your 5 starters potentially on the offensive line. That just spells trouble in whether that be with strip sacks, whether that be with, forced throws for interceptions. I just think it spells trouble this week with a rookie in Max Brosmer in his second start after 4 interceptions in his previous game against the Seattle Seahawks. One of those going for a touchdown. You got to play it. Patriots versus the Jets. I like that matchup as well. Only 6 points last week for the Jets, and they get a stingy Patriots defense this week. Saints at Tennessee. Giants at Las Vegas, Steelers at Cleveland, and the Steelers at Cleveland. I don't know how much I really love that one, just because Shedeur, has been playing a little bit decent, but now they don't have Quinshon Judkins, so that's kind of why the Steelers are still up as high as they are. Is they don't really have a true replacement. Raheem Sanders, like I mentioned before, is going to be the one getting the bulk of the carries by the looks of it. So go ahead if you need a running back, you can go ahead and pick him up. Jaguars versus Indianapolis, Texans at the Chargers. It's just, they have firepower on the offensive side of the ball. Even though Texans are good, you got to respect them. That's why they're sitting in the middle of the pack. Rams at Atlanta, Bucks at Miami, Cowboys at Washington. That could go either way. But Washington, Marcus Mariota has been serviceable at quarterback, and they've been moving the ball. Titans versus New Orleans. I don't like the matchup. They're on there, but I don't really like it. And all these teams at the back half, again, it's because I don't love them, So that's my rankings for week 17 for the Fantasy 15. All right. So what we need to do now is if you guys have any questions, again, if you're just tuning in, go ahead and send those on either YouTube and X. We're going to go ahead and try to let you know who you should start, who you should sit, and try to help you with any waiver pickups or any decisions that you need to make this week. But if you're watching me on Facebook, please go ahead and switch over to YouTube or X, Fantasy 15. Just search Fantasy 15 FB, and then you can go ahead and throw your comments and questions in there. I'll pull them up live on the screen, and we'll go ahead and get those answered for you. All right. So while I'm waiting for any questions that might come in, I'm going to go ahead and move on to our best bets section. Now, this was a tough one for me this last week. So Ryan's been killing it. Me, on the other hand, it's been a rough go. It's been a rough go. So this last week, tough. I went 1-3-1. So I did get the win with the Cincinnati Bengals against the Dolphins. It was Cincinnati by 4.5. Got that. Um, hey, it was a push. Minnesota versus the Giants. Once JJ McCarthy went out, kind of the wheels went off. And then Bucks versus the Panthers. Lost that one. Panthers have my number. Here's a sneak peek. I'm going to do it again. 49ers, I just don't learn, right? 49ers versus the Colts. I took the under, of course. Huge game point wise. I take the L there. And then the Falcons and the Cardinals. It was close, but they didn't quite get the over. So I take another loss that week. So my total record goes to 22, 27, and 1 after this week. Now, taking a look at Ryan, because Ryan did a really good job here this last week. I mean, he's been doing a good job all season with his picks. He's sitting in the positive. Ryan had another solid week, and Ryan ended up going 3-1-1. So he did the exact opposite that I did. And he had the Eagles versus the Commanders, got the win. That was Philly at 6.5. And then again, we both tied on the Vikings Giants game. Patriots versus Ravens, he got the win. He got the win on the over for the Buffalo Bills and the Browns. And then it was really that Denver game that got him for the L. He thought Denver was going to go ahead and cover those 3 points, but Jacksonville was just a dominant win. They're looking good. That's a team that's really been looking strong. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into our next set of picks that we have, and that's for this week. Now, this is who we've bet on. We're not telling you guys who to bet on. So this is just who we will bet on. All right, so let's just take a look at Ryan's for this week. He's been doing excellent for week 17. His best bets: Seattle at the Panthers. He's got Carolina plus 7.5, and that's who he's taking this week. And Carolina at home. They play really good, right? Ryan loves Carolina at home. Facing a tough Seahawks team, he's got them, staying just barely plus that touchdown. All right, Tampa Bay versus the Miami Dolphins. We got the under at 46.5 is who Ryan's going with for the under. The Texans versus the Chargers, he's taking the over 39.5 in that game. Two tough defenses. Jacksonville versus the Colts. It's Jacksonville minus 6.5. He's going with Jacksonville in that one. I like that pick. I think that's a pretty solid one as well. The Saints versus the Tennessee Titans. He's going with New Orleans, and that's minus 2.5 for New Orleans versus the Tennessee Titans. Also, I agree. I think that's a really solid pick this week. All right. I just need to switch over to my picks for week 17. And Ryan's doing a lot better than I am, but you know what? I'm still going to try to do my best these last couple of weeks in our best bets. Detroit Lions versus Minnesota Vikings. The Detroit Lions, I'm going to go ahead and take them in this one. 6 points. I think Minnesota's missing a lot of people. This has the potentials for a blowout written all over it. I don't think that Minnesota can keep up with them offensively. I mean, I'm a fan through and through. I want to see my team win. I just, if I'm being real with you guys, I just don't think that they keep it within 6. Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay with that 5.5. So minus 5.5 for Tampa Bay. That's who I go with. Philadelphia versus the Bills. I got to take the Bills minus 1.5. And this could be a risky, tricky game to go with. I just think at home, the Bills are able to get this one done. Seattle versus the Panthers. like I said, I don't have good luck with Carolina, whether it's away, whether it's at home, but I'm doing it again, and I'm going against the Panthers, and I'm going to take Seattle minus 7.5 in this one. And I know Ryan's on it. He's laughing, Panthers doing it again. Damn Panthers. They like to get me, but I'm going back to the well. I got to win on one of these, right? With the Panthers, so I'm hoping I'm going to get them this time. Sam, go ahead and go get me the win. All right, Pittsburgh Steelers versus Cleveland Browns. I got Pittsburgh minus 3.5. That's who I'm taking this week. So again, these are our best bets. This is who we're betting on, not telling you guys who to bet on. All right. So we've had a good show so far as giving you guys our top 15 charts. We've given you guys our ultimate lineup. We've given you guys our best bets, and hopefully this is giving you enough ammunition with injuries. We've kind of given you some different waiver pickups. Make sure that you go out tonight because you have your waiver lineups. Get those set tonight and set your waiver orders. And here's a couple other ones that I just want you to consider when you're looking for your waivers. I talked about Taysom Hill. I talked about possibly picking up Jake Tongas instead for this week at tight end. Malik Willis, if he's out there and available on waivers, he could be a start this week if you're really in need. And then just take a look because, again, Dylan Sampson's not ready to go. So Raheem Sanders is a running back for Cleveland that could be given it a go. He's going against a tough Pittsburgh defense, so you have to keep that in mind. But if you're hard up and you need a starting running back, that could be a waiver wire pickup for you this week. And then again on defenses, if you're looking, if Detroit's out there, I think that's definitely a defense that you need to pick up and start this week. Another one that could be a good pickup for you could be the Giants defense that's going against Las Vegas. But the key one that I would look for if they're out there would be Detroit. All right. Fantasy 15. The reason why we did it on Tuesday, typically this is a Wednesday show at 9:30. We moved it to Tuesday, and that's not because Ryan was sick and having his flu game. Ryan, we hope you get better. But again, the reason why we had it is we want Ryan and we want to spend time with our families. We know you want to spend time with your families for Christmas. So we're trying to get the fantasy advice and all the details out of the way early for you guys so you guys can set your picks. You can get your waiver wire stuff done. And that way you guys can enjoy the family, the food, the fun. And then again, on Thursday, the football. So, lineup of games, and one more time, take a look at the slate. So don't forget to set your lineup. Make sure that you're kind of staying tuned in as far as which players are start as far as injury wise as it gets closer to game time. Freak things happen, right? We had Rome Odunze go down right in pregame warm-ups, and now he's been out a few games. So just keep an eye on it. So Thursday, you got 3 games. Saturday, you got 2 games to look out for, and then you got your full slate on Sunday, and then your Monday night game. But the one that trips you up is don't forget about those Saturday games either. So 3 on Thursday, 2 on Saturday. I mean, this is going to be some good football here coming up. So I want to thank all of you guys that tuned in. If you're not already following us, please go ahead and follow us on X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and then also, hey, if you're looking for a listen while you're at work, you're out doing something, doing chores out at the house, you can also take a look at these episodes out on Spotify. We don't stream live to Spotify. We can't do that, but we can upload them to Spotify after we're done with the show. So I will download those and upload those to Spotify so you can watch those letters. So if you didn't catch all the show or you're a dedicated listener, that's just another way that you can listen to us. So thank you so much. Good luck to all of you guys that are either in your third place game fighting for some money, or hey, you're in your championship game, got a trophy coming. And even to you guys that are sitting in consolation rounds or in the losers bracket, wish you guys the best. I hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas and a happy holidays from the Fantasy 15. Ryan, who signed off, And then myself, Steve, I want to thank you guys for joining us at the Fantasy 15. Please continue to make us your source for fantasy football, and good luck this week. Out here.